So you have another Unstable Universe movie for me? Yes sir, I do, and this one's called It's Impossible to Catch This Player. What player is he talking about? Well, you see, this one picks up right where the last one left off, with our protagonist Wemmbu trying to track down a player named Spoke so he can ban him, cause now it's personal. Oh? Yeah, Wembu's pretty upset that Spoke tried to unalive him in the last episode, so he's not gonna let him get off the hook this time. Makes sense, but didn't Spoke teleport away with an ender stasis chamber last time? How's Wemmbu planning on finding him again? He did, so Wembu's gonna go ask that Parrot X2 player again if he knows where Spoke is. Why would he know where he is? He doesn't, and even if he did, he wouldn't tell Wemmbu because they're on bad terms. Oh, why is that? Well, you'd have to watch Parrot's Unstable Universe movie to know why that is. Oh, sneaking an ad to another franchise. I like it. We just gotta make sure we don't do it too much, otherwise people will catch on. Of course, we'll make sure we keep that to a minimum. And now, Wemmbu goes to check out an abandoned base of one of Spoke's allies named Jamato P. And what does he find there? Jamato P. But I thought you said it was... Well, you see, Jamato had some stuff he needed to finish up there. Like what? Unclear. Fair enough. So does he know where Spoke is? He does not. But when Wemmbu goes to leave, a group of players shows up led by a guy named Flame Frags. Aw, they should fight. What? Why? Look, it's already been a couple minutes of runtime and I haven't seen any fighting, so I kinda need there to be some conflict. Okay, but I need my fight scenes, okay? Okay, I'll keep that in mind. So they start fighting. Wow. But then they stop because they realize they're both just looking for Spoke. Amazing that they both happen to check the same abandoned base for Spoke at the same time. It is, and it turns out that Flame Frags and these other players with him are actually guards for this emperor on the server named Prince Zam, and so they take him to go meet him. And what's his deal? He's ridiculously rich and he has a power complex. Sounds like my kind of guy. So what happens at this meeting? Wemmbu and Zam agree to work together to catch Spoke, but then the Fire Nation attacks. What? Sorry, then Spoke's henchmen attack. Oh yeah, no, that makes more sense. Yeah, they just start blowing up all sorts of stuff, and so Wemmbu has to team up with Prince Zam and his guards to get him to leave. Very cool. So how do Wemmbu and Zam plan on finding Spoke? Well, Wemmbu knows of a player named Squiddo who used to work for Spoke, and Zam actually knows Squiddo because Squiddo's a member of his empire, so they just go straight over to her house to talk to her. And did Zam know that one of his citizens worked for Spoke? Not even a little bit, no. Wait, how did Wemmbu find out that Squiddo worked for Spoke? I don't know. Fair enough. So what does Squiddo tell them? It turns out that this Squiddo player actually built a base for Spoke in the end. So Wemmbu and Zam get the coordinates from her before banning her off the server. Wait, they just straight up unalive her? No, you see, they use something called a chunk ban, which lets them ban someone temporarily off the server. And if they want to let them back in, they just have to break the chunk ban. Amazing. So they go to the end base then? Yes, they do, but first they run into Parrot, who's with another player named Weefies, and they're kind of looking around the Empire all suspiciously. What are they up to? Well, it turns out that Spoke actually left Parrot a bit of a scavenger hunt, and one of the clues is in the Empire, so they're just looking around for it. And Wemmbu and Zam really want to get their hands on those clues because they think it will lead them to Spoke. And do they manage to get the clues from Parrot and Weefies? No, Parrot and Weefies get away. Wait, is this another Parrot ad? Ah, you caught me. I thought so. So now do they go to the end base? They do, and it turns out Spoke's actually there. Oh, well, I guess our title's kind of clickbait because they did in fact catch him, it turns out. No, they don't. What? Yeah, big fight breaks out and all of his guards end up getting chunk banned, but he manages to message someone who's away from the fight to activate an ender stasis chamber for him, so he gets right out of there. Oh, a very slippery bad guy. So what do now? They decide to go get a weapon called a mace from a trial chamber in order to one-tap him. That sounds incredible. So how do they get one? First, we're going to show them exploring, looking to find a village. So they're going to run into a jungle temple and they're going to randomly search it for about no reason. And then they're going to eventually find a village and then they're going to have to trade with the villagers. And of course, they're going to randomly stumble onto the trial chamber and then they're going to go in and then they're going to just have to fight all sorts of mobs. And they're not going to really know what's going on and how trial chambers work. And so they're going to have to eventually get a heavy core, but then they're going to realize that they don't have any breeze rods because that they used them all to make wind charges, and so they're gonna run out of that. And sir? Hello? and then a big fight breaks out. Huh, what? A fight? Huh? With who? I don't know. Maybe it's some of Spoke's henchmen who just were hunting them or something. How do they know where to look? Look, do you want this fight scene to happen or not? Of course. Then I'm gonna need you to get all the way off my back about this. Okay, I'll get right off that thing. Right, so Wemmbu manages to get a breeze rod during the fight, but he doesn't have any wood for a crafting table, so he has to leave Zam underground and try to go to the surface to get wood. Isn't the mace craftable without a crafting table? Shut up. So Wemmbu goes and he does that, but Zam's pretty upset that he got abandoned. I mean, yeah, I imagine that was pretty difficult for him. It is, but Zam manages to make it to the surface anyway, so Wemmbu can start using the mace on them. Oh boy, does he destroy them all? Not really. He doesn't really know how to use it. He's still pretty early on in his mace arc, so he's gonna be pretty bad at it, but it's gonna be enough to scare him away. Amazing. And just out of curiosity, how are we doing on the runtime for this right now? We're about 75 minutes in. Okay, good. So we're almost done. Oh no, we're only like a third of the way in. Oh my goodness. Well, yeah, you told me to make it longer than the last one, so this is gonna be 3 hours long. I guess I did do that, didn't I? Well, anyways, is there a way we can speed up this meeting? Because I gotta go stare at YouTube analytics until the numbers go up. Yes, sir, I can, because the next part is Wemmbu and Zam going on sort of a glorified montage of finding Spoke henchmen to ban him off the server. So how do they find his henchmen? With a crazy cool trick that Parrot X2 discovered with arrows and TNT. Wait, is your favorite character Parrot X2? No. So do they ask the guards where they can find Spoke? No, they don't. They believe in ban first, ask questions later. Wait, but now they can't ask the questions. Whoops. Whoopsie. And then they find a giant obsidian box with one of Spoke's henchmen inside. Kinda feels like a trap to me. It is a trap, and Spoke's there himself with a whole ton of henchmen. Aw yeah, so they finally get a chance to ban him? No, they fail so bad that Wembu's forced to give up his mace. It must be pretty hard to get out of a situation like that. It's actually gonna be super easy. Barely an inconvenience. Really? You see, Prince Zam says he has a chunk ban on him, and so all of the henchmen, including Spoke himself, decide to teleport out using ender pearl stasis chambers. Well, that just made the whole getting a mace thing feel pretty pointless. That doesn't matter because now they go back to finding Spoke's henchmen and banning them again. Got to get to 3 hours of runtime somehow. Exactly, so Wemmbu and Zam go and they ban a whole ton of Spoke's henchmen, and they're left with one set of coordinates left, and they're pretty confident it will take them straight to Spoke. Are they finally gonna catch him now? Not yet, because Zam actually ran out of chunk bans and wants to go get some guards too, so he's gotta go all the way back to his empire. And so Wemmbu goes alone to try to stall Spoke. So what does Wemmbu do when he finally confronts Spoke? Again. Well, actually, he's not gonna find Spoke. He's gonna find an invisible player instead who's gonna make him do some ice parkour. What? Yeah, and then the invisible player is gonna make him go and solve a maze that Wemmbu already solved earlier during the montage. What is happening right now? Well, you see, this invisible player says he works for Spoke and's gonna take him to him only after he's completed some random tasks. So does he ever find Spoke? Yes, because it turns out that invisible player actually was Spoke the whole time. Yeah, I kind of saw that coming. So does Spoke finally get defeated? No, he doesn't, because Spoke and Wemmbu have a big old fight, but then in the end, don't say it. Spoke uses an ender pearl stasis chamber to get away. And there it is. So they're just never gonna catch Spoke. I mean, that is the name of the video. I guess that's true. So how does it end? Well, you see, Wemmbu finally regroups with Zam, and Zam's guards actually decide to come with them this time. Yeah, why haven't the guards been helping? Because. Fair enough. So then they find Spoke and he starts to run away. If you say Spoke uses one more stasis chamber, you're fired. He doesn't. Really? Yeah, no stasis chambers. So he gets unalived? No, because instead Spoke walks into a chunk ban that he set up. What? When did he set that up? Well, you see, if you want the full answer, you have to watch Parrot X2's Unstable Universe movie. Yep, I guess that feels right. So do we at least know why he did it? Essentially, he was just avoiding a permanent death by hiding inside a chunk ban that could in theory be broken in the future. Aw, cheating death is tight. It is, and it's gonna happen so much in this series. And that's the end. What do you think? It was really long, but I'm glad that they eventually caught Spoke. So as long as he stays captured for at least a couple episodes, then I feel like it'll be worth it.